Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including a Cybertruck's leaked range, why a Model 3 battery died at 120,000 miles, and more, so let's get into it, and a special thanks to Factor for sponsoring a portion of this video. First up today, a new Tesla software update has released, and a couple very cool features are arriving with it. One of the big ones is predictive charger availability. For a while now, it has been easy to see how busy a supercharger is when you are headed there. The only thing is, there may be a number of Tesla owners navigating there at the same time, and now Tesla is taking this into account. Quote, if you're navigating to a supercharger, Tesla will now predict how many supercharger stalls will be available at your arrival and display the predicted wait time, if any. They are factoring in travel time to the charger for all navigating there, and this should lead to better expectations, predictions, and everything involved there. I'm excited to see how accurate it is in practice. Previously, when heading to a fairly busy supercharger, there could be a bit of anxiety, but this should allow you to make a better decision when considering your time. As for other automakers, Rivian had quite the rough update this week. They accidentally pushed the wrong build to owners and quickly retracted it. Still, for those that installed it, they found their infotainment to be bricked. Quote, the issue impacts the infotainment system. In most cases, the rest of the vehicle systems are still operational. A vehicle reset or sleep cycle will not solve the issue. We are validating the best options to address the issue for the impacted vehicles. This is an example of exactly what many fear with software-connected cars, so this definitely isn't a great look across the board and for Rivian. I almost had installed this update on my R1T, and I'm glad I didn't. Rivian sent official communication to owners, but they were still unable to fix the issue at first. They also said that it could require physical repair. For a new company with service centers often far from customers, this is a very big deal. The next day, Rivian was able to fix this with another software update, and owners reported success here, so that's good to see. This definitely is something Rivian can't have happen again, though. Luckily, we haven't seen anything quite like this from Tesla, at least in a very long time. Speaking of Tesla and battery technology, though, let's talk battery longevity. Electric cars are still relatively new to the market, especially at scale, and our full knowledge of batteries isn't quite complete. As such, there are occurrences when a Tesla battery dies before it should. According to Elon Musk, a Tesla battery should last 300,000 to 500,000 miles. However, Tesla's battery warranty will only cover certain cars for 150, 120, or 100,000 miles. 100,000 miles is when the warranty runs out on a rear-wheel drive Model 3. Elon and the warranty seem to tell two different stories, and we have now seen a case where a Tesla owner's battery gave out just after 120,000 miles. Kim Jowua detailed a story from Dobson, a rideshare driver, who switched to a standard range plus Model 3. He put this car through a ton of driving, around 300 miles a day, with 2 supercharger stops a day, charging to 90 or 95% each time. He loves his car and saved over $10,000 compared to filling up with gas, but he started noticing his range reducing quite a bit once he reached around 100,000 miles. So he started needing to charge to 100% from time to time. Right around 120,000 miles, his car suddenly cut to 35 miles of range, so he took it to service. Tesla told him it was out of warranty and that it would cost $9,000 to replace. Essentially, Tesla told him that this is normal and expected when putting this kind of wear and tear on the battery. Rideshare does not seem to be what these cars are designed for, at least according to the service department. Tesla equates 100,000 miles on this spec to 8 years of driving, whereas Dobson put their 8 years on in 1 year. Right off the bat, this is not a good look for Tesla longevity, but it's important to note that 200 to 300 miles a day on any car is a lot. Still, regardless of how much stress was put on this car in however short a period, this points to a few things. For one, Tesla has released studies that show their batteries only lose about 12% of range after 200,000 miles. The one thing this didn't really account for, which is important, is battery pack size. Larger packs can go further and thus can get the same long-term distance with less cycling. According to auto expert Sandy Munro, quote, that type of cycling will definitely kill a battery. Battery degradation happens for a lot of different reasons, but mostly it's cycling. I think he cycled it to death. Sandy also mentions charging above the 80% recommendation. Quote, 80% as the high end and 20% as the low end. Batteries like that a lot. Don't charge past 80, don't go below 20. So if you are driving a lot, this does seem to be very important to pay attention to. Only truly use charge levels above this when absolutely necessary. As for charging speed, it's a bit disappointing to see how much wear supercharging appears to put on the battery. For some customers, this is how they can charge their Tesla, and for now, it may mean that for those driving a lot, it will only really make sense if they can home charge most of the time. Otherwise, the battery may die right after your warranty, or earlier than it should based on what we've been told. A recurrent study showed that supercharging does not actually affect battery longevity much when looking in general at 12,500 Teslas. Their short answer is that occasional fast charging is fine. While a lot of this is becoming common knowledge, the fact that these things affect the battery so drastically here isn't great. It also brings up questions for things like Tesla's future robotaxi plans. They have even promised that older Model 3s can become robotaxis through future software updates, but it doesn't seem like their batteries are ultimately built for tons of ride sharing. The idea of a robotaxi is that it can run all day every day, and a situation like this calls that into question. A long-range car would have been cycled less here and would have been more reasonably charged to 80% each time, so that could be something that helps. At the same time as well, while $9,000 for a pack replacement is very expensive, it's not $20,000, which seems to be the number most fixate on. In this case though, it entirely negated his gasoline savings, which was one of the main selling points of buying this car for this customer. What do you think about this though? Is this a special case, or does it make you think about how you would or do use your Tesla? Ultimately, to me, it shows that things like not supercharging too often and charging only to 80% do have a true impact on the longevity of your Tesla battery. They are things owners and buyers should be aware of, and Sandy Munro somewhat equates taking care of your battery to changing your oil. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Factor. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. Factor allows you to skip the extra grocery store trip, skip chopping, prepping, cleaning up, and more, all while getting great flavor and nutrition. These meals are ready in just 2 minutes, so you can instantly have a great meal to eat. They've saved me a lot in situations where I just ran out of time and normally would default to eating out. You can choose from 35 plus weekly meals and enjoy some limited time only hearty, comforting meals for fall, like cranberry pecan chicken and apple Dijon pork chops. They also have gourmet plus options with premium ingredients like broccolini, leeks, truffle butter, and asparagus, as well as calorie conscious options, all around 550 calories or less per serving, or protein plus with 30 grams or more protein per serving. Here's my most recent Factor box, which showed up at my door ready to go. Factor is now owned by HelloFresh, who I've partnered with in the past, and I love both. There's something for everyone, whether you want to cook or simply heat meals up. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use the code RyanShaw50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Again, that's factor75.com with code RyanShaw50 for 50% off your first box. Next up today, the latest for the Cybertruck, including what could be our first range confirmation. We are approaching the delivery event for the Cybertruck, and as such, Tesla has sent out their official invites. They still have yet to confirm a start time for the event, but check-ins begin at 1 p.m. Overall, this event will include people who purchased a Cybertruck delivery event invite through the referral program and people who won the shareholder raffle. We can assume there are others invited as well, but Martin VHS said, quote, "We have millions of retail holders and a lot of interest every time. The whole reason for random drawing is that everyone gets a chance. We had someone with 36 shares getting an invite and people with 100,000 shares not getting one. If you see the usual suspects get invited, in nearly all cases they didn't win the random drawing, but many get in through referral program and others get in as someone's +1. This time was no different. I will float the idea of getting a bigger venue at some point in the future for our annual meeting. I was able to get an invite through the referral program, so I'm excited to be there and will be making a video right after the event." For the Cybertruck interior, we pretty much know what all it's going to include at this point, but a new photo showed the steering wheel with a different logo. Previously, this wheel had the word Tesla on it, just like the Model S, X, and new Model 3. However, this particular Cybertruck prototype has the Cybertruck logo in the center of the wheel. That's an interesting change there and fits in line with Tesla's general idea when designing this truck. It speaks for itself and doesn't need badges, logos, or anything else really. When you spot one, there's no way it's anything but a Tesla Cybertruck. As for the range of the Cybertruck, a video leaked this week seemingly filmed by someone with complete access to it. Overall, it shows us that same interior with the Cybertruck logo on the steering wheel and details we've known about before, but it's our first close-up seeing the doors in action, the rear screen fully on, the tonneau cover rolling up quite quickly, and the rear seats folded up. There is the car cover sitting in the footwell in the rear, but next to that we can clearly see the rear seats folded up. This is useful for storage. Then there is the interface on screen. When they show the screen, it gives us a good look at its interface, and it's very interesting to try and figure out what its range is here. We still do not know what the actual launch range of the Cybertruck will be, and we won't know until November 30th or maybe after, but Tesla originally announced trims up to 500 plus miles. Many doubt this will be its actual range, so let's see what this truck may include. As always, this is a prototype, so it's hard to know, but they have the charge limit set to 100%, they're at a 71% state of charge, and they're pulling about 77 kilowatts of charging speed. The car says that they are getting 75 miles of range per hour at this moment, and that it will take 55 more minutes to get to a 100% charge. That's a pretty slow charge for the last 29% of the battery. Separately though, when looking at navigation, we can figure out the Cybertruck's true range prediction here. They are at a 71% charge and are navigating to a destination that is 16 miles away. When they arrive, the truck says they'll be at 65% charge. Right there, some simple math shows it'll use 6% of the battery to go 16 miles. 100 for 100% charge divided by 6 is 16.66, and that multiplied by 16 miles gets us 267 miles of range at 100% charge rounded. So the Cybertruck is giving a real-world range estimate of around 267 miles on a full charge. I say that it's a real-world range estimate because this estimation comes from the vehicle navigation, which actually factors in things that affect range. Of course, this is assuming that this car is not software locked or altered in any way, which is not a safe assumption. If accurate though, the EPA would likely list this spec somewhere over 300 miles, even though it truly gets less in the real world and the in-car navigation knows it. This is common across all electric cars and is well known for Teslas. That 71% in the corner, when tapped on, would switch to an EPA-based miles prediction, and I wouldn't be surprised if it totaled 330 miles or so when calculated up to its 100% equivalent. So even if this math is accurate, it likely won't represent the listed range of this particular spec. For now, it's just an estimate based on a very small piece of data. We don't know what this truck's upcoming drive looks like in terms of speed, elevation, or anything else, and calculating a full battery range this way is not going to be completely accurate. Still though, I think it's very possible that this is the 300-mile range version of the Cybertruck, and I wouldn't be surprised if that is what Tesla plans to ship. We know they are shipping a dual motor and tri-motor performance spec to start, and I imagine they are only shipping one battery pack. Those hoping for a 500-mile pack may be quite disappointed here, and based on these calculations, it looks like the Cybertruck could be getting around half of that range in the real world. Hopefully around November 30th we'll get full confirmation here, but we know that Tesla has never shipped a car with this much range, and the Cybertruck is larger than any other car they've shipped. It seems to me very unlikely that they're going to ship a 500-mile Cybertruck because it would require such a larger battery pack than they are used to shipping. At the end of the day, Tesla is all about scaling, and if they can scale the 300-mile Cybertruck and sell it, they will do so. In any case, we got a few other great looks at the truck this week. First, the Prime Minister of Thailand visited Tesla, and included in his post is a photo of him and Lars Moravi both standing on the Cybertruck's tonneau cover. Elon demoed this a couple years back with Jay Leno, but that was with the original prototype. A lot has changed on this car, including the move to normal glass windows, so it's good to see the integrity of this cover has stayed. Based on this new photo, it seems the tonneau cover can hold even more weight than previously thought, and there's even a video of them getting up onto the bed itself. It can hold its weight throughout. Separately, an anonymous photo was posted of the Cybertruck sitting in a garage carrying a bike. It's a pretty good demo of how bright the bed lighting is, and what a bike would look like inside the bed itself. Here's another Cybertruck spotted on the freeway, holding what looks like 3 to 4 separate bikes. We're likely going to keep seeing sightings like this, but our best range estimate is probably what we just got until Tesla officially announces it. Actually, prior to that though, we may get it from the EPA themselves, because in order for the Cybertruck to sell, they are going to need that approval, which the EPA will release prior to its release. Next up today, Tesla has started listing their new vehicles on a website outside of their own for the first time, and Elon didn't know about it. The Model 3 and Y were spotted on Cars.com, and when I did a search on the website for any new Tesla, there were 165 matches in my area. They don't seem to be listing the Model S or X here, but the Model 3 and Y are available all over the country. This is weird because one of Tesla's most distinguishing characteristics is that they sell directly to the customer. Just about every other automaker in the US sells their vehicles through third-party dealerships, and Tesla doesn't. Then Elon commented, quote, "First I've heard of this, seems odd." So this wasn't a big decision to change Tesla's overall strategy. As it turns out, this seems to be just another form of advertising. If you click on one of these listings and go through with ordering your car, it redirects you to Tesla's website. Cars.com lists Tesla's inventory. Then when Tesla gets an order that was redirected from Cars.com, Tesla likely pays them some sort of commission. It makes sense then why Elon didn't fully know about this. The CEO of a global company can't be expected to know every single marketing decision. It also wouldn't be the first time he was caught out of the loop, though. Back in September, Tesla China partnered with McDonald's to launch a limited edition Cyber Spoon for $4. When Elon saw that, he commented, "Fake news as far as I know," even though the partnership was real. Moving forward, I'm expecting to see a lot more advertising from Tesla in creative ways, and it seems like it won't be coming directly from Elon himself. Over in China last week, Tesla increased a few prices. The new Model 3 long range has increased by about $206, with no changes to the other trims of this car currently sold. As we know, performance or ludicrous is still unannounced. For the Model Y, they increased that price by about $344. Not significant increases by any stretch, but they do mark that these cars are doing well. Tesla doesn't raise prices unless their cars are selling well and they can do so. Over near Giga, Texas, a truckload of wrapped Teslas was spotted, leading to speculation that these are examples of Tesla's new wrapping service. These wraps were announced a few weeks ago from Tesla, but they are only available at 2 service centers to start, both in California. They are offered on the Model 3 and Y, leading some to think that these may be Tesla's first examples, headed to their headquarters. It would be possible that they're heading there to display them for the Cybertruck event on November 30th, but more likely, these aren't related to Tesla at all. If we look closely at these photos, these cars have far more than a wrap on them. Some have aftermarket wheels and body kits, so these very likely are not coming from Tesla. Next up today, the United Auto Workers strike has successfully resulted in deals being made with each of the big 3 automakers in the US, GM, Ford, and Stellantis. Moving forward, this has implications for Tesla. GM agreed first, making a deal to increase wages by 25%, plus cost of living adjustments. They also agreed to include their joint venture battery plants into the deal. Now the UAW has a new goal and Joe Biden is on their side with it. In a speech delivered shortly after their Big 3 win, UAW President Shawn Fain said, "One of our biggest goals coming out of this historic contract victory is to organize like we've never organized before. When we return to the bargaining table in 2028, it won't just be with a Big 3, but with a Big 5 or Big 6. So by 2028, UAW is planning to unionize 3 more automakers, most likely including Tesla." After that speech, Biden gave a speech of his own, stating he would be in support of the UAW's push to unionize Toyota and Tesla. After a union makes a deal like this, non-unionized companies often need to respond to that deal if they don't want their workers leaving for better pay and working conditions. So shortly after the deal was struck, Toyota raised their wages. Then Honda responded in kind. So far though, we haven't heard anything from Tesla. That wouldn't be the first time the UAW set their sights on Tesla. There was a push to unionize Tesla back in 2017, but that was unsuccessful. Now under new UAW leadership, it looks like there's going to be another push. Elon said in 2022 that he wouldn't stop a union vote, but has also said that those voters would have to give up stock options if they did vote to unionize. For many employees at Tesla, stock options have been what makes them more money than if they worked at another UAW automaker. So workers aren't sure what to expect if they're approached by the UAW again. So far, there haven't been any official comments from Elon or Tesla on the matter, but this is surely going to be a topic of discussion in the coming years. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see my full review of the Model Y after a full year of ownership, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.